I'm passionate about, and I bet they'll spark something in you too. So buckle up for quick, high-impact episodes that'll shake you up. Welcome back to the Steve Setka Show. We're on episode 22, past 21, which is typically the breaking point for like 95% of podcasts, and we're getting there. And we're going to continue to roll. The only thing we got to do is just keep going, keep recording episodes, and keep talking about faith. And we got a really, really good guest on the show today that really sums up this verse that we're going to frame the episode with. Hebrews 12:17 reads, "Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father?" With that being said, welcome Anthony Escobedo to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Look forward to it.
It's going to be fun. It's very exciting. When I think of you, Anthony, your personality, we've known each other for close to a decade. We did training together in the logistics and the freight space. I think about aggression in a good way, grit, determination, seriousness in his mission in life. So like when I read that discipline verse from the Bible, what comes to your mind?
Well, I think no matter whether it's faith or business or relationships, family, you know, having that ability to be focused, right, and diligent, and can be disciplined to wherever your goals are, whether they are to accomplish something personally on a regular basis, whether is it to excel in a certain position in your life, or is it to be a good family member, right, or a good neighbor. All those are very very important things, but they all take discipline, right? I think a lot of times we get pushed and pulled different areas of our life, and sometimes in order to accomplish those things and to achieve those results, it takes repetitive every day of doing what we don't always want to do, but what we have to do to reach those goals and reach those milestones. So that's what it means to me. Discipline is one of those things where whether it's athletics or if it's professionalism or if it's family, it's the building blocks, right, of where you're trying to go.
You bet. I hear you. I mean, discipline's a part of my everyday life, and I know it's a part of your everyday life as well, too. And the essence of being disciplined is really doing stuff when you don't want to do it, right? So whether it's prospecting a business, whether it's showing up as the best man that you can be for your wife, which I know you have a great relationship and with your wife, partner,
Yeah.
very good.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can remember if you married. I know her, Christina, a wonderful woman, and you guys do a lot of business together. Or if it's showing up with your family, showing up just as a daily person that it serves God. It's such an important part of life, and grit and determination and being disciplined really is the essence of what we do. And what we do specifically, you and I both, is logistics and freight. So I know you've had some change up in your life recently. What you're doing, I don't really know a whole lot about it. We are from a similar type of business at Freight Logistics, but you're still posting incredible content on there. Tell the viewers and tell me about what the updates are in your life when it comes to your transport world.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, what I'm focused on is really just a couple different things. I've transitioned a bit into other parts of supply chain logistics on the restaurant side of things. Working with a group of founders who have come up with some really great restaurant supply chain tech. They're rolling out kind of as we speak, right? It's going to be hitting the markets here, going to be shipping out to markets very, very soon. So I've been able to kind of slide into that space a bit and consult with them on the importance of what it is to understand logistics, right? Especially when it comes to on-time food ordering and inventory and returns and all those things that make back of the house logistics very difficult for restaurant owners. But that's also where all the money is going, right? In terms of profitability and margin and food costs. So I've been really focusing on that project for the last, let's say, a year and a half, right? So we've got
Here,
it
yeah.
kind of along. But the other thing that I'm always constantly doing is in the community is working with young business owners who are either starting their business or they're in need of resources, right? Understanding what it takes to either market the business, like go to market, whether it's through e-commerce or whether it's through understanding what it takes to get the door to turn open and get new business. So whether it's learning how to cold call, whether it's cold calling over the phone, whether it's a person, whether it's leveraging automation tools like email marketing campaigns and social media. I'm also heavily involved in working with companies with that as well too, and that's very important because I think it's a tough spot for a lot of businesses, especially as it's changing so rapidly, and especially with AI and what we're doing in terms of going online to market our products, TikTok, things like that, where people are kind of nervous to get into that part of marketing their business, and it's a little daunting for them because either they're too old or they're too young or they always have some kind of excuse, right? But they need someone to help them kind of bridge the gap. So that's kind of where I'm at today, and it's really exciting to see those things take off.
That's awesome. So a couple things. So you're still in logistics, you're still in this, but you're changing up what you do in supply chain. Very interesting. I don't know a lot about your current career. I've known where you've come from, but that's fascinating to hear that you're going into like food development and logistics and supply chain. That's wonderful. I don't believe that God puts people together and connects them for no reason. I believe there's a connection and a purpose here. So funny enough, Anthony, my wife actually just went on mat leave because we're expecting a baby in about
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. In about 3 months, and she's got 18 months. It's a different country up here in Canada. We get a lot more time. You reduce your pay, but she's got business initiatives that she's working on for the future. But she was in food production, okay, distribution. And it's funny that you talk about going into that world now because we have some consistencies in the life. So she would talk about food and produce specifically being a ticking time bomb. Okay. So you have a little bit of experience in flat deck and full truckload, and you're going to be looking at reefer likely and frozen freight. And that's a ticking time bomb. And food typically doesn't always necessarily last forever. Therefore, the supply chain and the logistics component of food is essential to get right. It's not like dry freight, right? So it's a little bit different. So you're niching into food, which is very fascinating. And I got a little bit of experience with that as a spouse of somebody who works in the management industry in produce as well, too. And it's unique and it's interesting. So you're like all just in time. So the freight you're going into is just in time in the restaurant industry. And there's like severe, significant deadlines and not necessarily a ton of money. But if you do it well and you can consult on it, there is a profitable opportunity. Am I right?
For sure. And what we're doing is we actually built a technology that's driven by AI that allows multiple systems to talk together at one time to really alleviate a lot of back of the house headaches that restaurateurs, accountants, chefs, you name it, they all deal with this issue because they're getting their product from a food vendor that has their own logistics that they have to tackle. So it's kind of marrying the two together and putting them on a kind of single platform and being able to kind of map things to where it's fully visible and kind of closing the loop, so to speak, on the complete supply chain. So you know, along with being able to help founders understand what that really means, right, in terms of the world of logistics, it's always about building a business from business development side, right? The sales teams and prospecting and marketing and designing marketing campaigns and brands. So all that kind of plays right into what we're doing. But to answer your question originally, you know, when you're relying on a third party to provide you with your product to sell, go to market with that day, right? Whether it's lunch service or dinner service, and those items they don't show up for whatever reason, whether they're mispicked or they're bad. Now either you're going to exclude something from your menu, right, which could lose your revenue, or you're sending your staff out to go find it somewhere, whether a grocery store or sometimes at restaurant supply stores. So being able to have a technology that kind of helps you guide through those processes and can communicate is really big because again, with food delivery services and parts of the food supply chain going up in terms of cost, people are cutting back and you don't want to lose margins where you can capture the most revenue you can. So that's kind of how our tech works. And when we launch it officially, you'll get a chance to see it yourself. But that's kind of the space we're in. And again, we always laugh because there's only so many ways you can ship something, right? So it's, ground, air, ocean, it's rail. So when you look at that, well, now you have, the Amazon or the final mile as well too, is kind of a component or even contracted drivers. So being able to stay in that space, understand how it all works together on a regular basis is something that's important as we continue to scale. And again, I'm also helping small businesses get into new markets, right? Understanding whether that the feel that post COVID, the major shipping companies, you can name any of them, they're trying to find ways to make more money, and that's taking away from customer experience, right? They're not going to be able to stand and educate their clients like they used to because they're more aware of putting packages on trucks or making sure they're delivered on time or maintenance costs are rising. So they're taking away large part of what companies used to lean on, which is education. So to be able to educate folks on that from a purely a perspective of just X's and O's, how to coordinate, what to do, how to facilitate, kind of being more of an educator than anything else, it's really helping people thrive. It's really helping them to kind of continue to stay up with time, specifically now with tariffs and things like that. People have no idea what those are about. There's companies who do billions of dollars a year in revenue who have no idea how tariffs work. They have no they have no idea who pays for them. They have no idea how it works. So all that education really it's a great space to be in because you're really helping facilitate better transactions long term.
That's incredible. Well, it is, and you're facilitating, and that's the best way to put it, I think, because there's a gap in the market. Like you said, there's a provider and there's customer. But when you reduce cost, which is what everybody's looking to do, oftentimes we know that in logistics, which is unfortunate, you're also reducing service level. So you're missing out on those components because you pay for those service levels, right? That you require in order to get stuff into the right hands so that it can go on to the next step of the supply chain, right? And that education part is missing, which is really the essence of my job and our business. And the essence of your job and your business is educating people so that they don't necessarily miss that. Because we all know, economically speaking, when you remove something from the transaction per se or the relationship, you can't necessarily fulfill everything that you'd like to because there's a cost associated with that. So I love how you said that. Food costs is going up, technology costs are going up. Consumers are very stingy. There's a lot of uncertainty, I know, in Canada and the United States, but we hope that turns around so people can continue to go out for dinner, go out for lunch, have a good time, have an experience. And let's not forget, when we're going out for food, and we want to have a great meal, we are paying to have a wonderful experience. And there are little things that can chip away at that experience, like you said. Food not being there, your staff has to go out and get it, which takes away time, it takes away money, it takes away resources. There's 100 different factors that go into running a restaurant per se. I know a few people who run them, and it's challenging and it's very difficult. And one little thing that goes wrong can devastate that relationship with a customer forever, where they might never come back, right? So you fill in the gap technologically in order to make that efficient is probably something the market is dying for right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that, apps and technology are kind of driving commerce and more visibility and more integration. Again, that goes along with, you know, leveraging new tools that are being available daily, right? Things are changing so fast in terms of technology. But having the backing understanding of the importance of these ideas and putting them together is a great concept, right? But you have to deliver on that concept, and that's something that we're doing very well. Is having the ability to drive results for business owners like restaurant owners, right? Because it's funny, just like accessorials and fuel surcharges and things like that, the percentages of food cost, I mean, they're rising so fast that restaurants are making 8, 10, 12% margins and they're happy, but they can't get down to 7 or 8% margins because they'll go out of business, right?
Could be 1 or 2 points could be the difference between them being in
Sure.
business and them being not in business, correct?
Sure. Yeah, 100%, definitely. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, that's really interesting. And, you're giving back to the industry in a way that it needs, it sounds like, which is very fascinating. Another component of business that I believe that's very important is giving back in general in a philanthropist way. I know you're very interested in philanthropy. You love to give back. You mix your business and your fun together, and that's something that you do regularly. I know you're into sport as well. So how do you combine your business acumen and your initiative with those young people that you're working with in one of the things that you love, which I believe is coaching?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you get involved locally. We've done a lot of internship programs in the past where we're working with universities, specifically with student athletes, right, who don't have a ton of time to be able to dedicate to internship or to developing their career, but there's a need, right? So us being able to, just as a person, not as a company, not as an entity, just me as an individual, reaching out to local community and saying, hey, I'm here and I'm looking forward to giving back and helping folks like that to get to the next level. I believe that if you can coach and help folks out in any capacity, one, you're really kind of reteaching yourself those skill sets, and then you're also having to not be a hypocrite, right? You can't say go out and make $50 an hour or a day, or whatever the case is, and not do it yourself or not live by those standards. So it's a really, really great way to reaffirm your own commitment to what you want to accomplish yourself. But better yet, I've always had older siblings, or I've had mentors or coaches. When the going gets tough and you need a resource, and that person being there you can trust long term, it makes a huge difference on results, right? It makes a huge difference on that person or individual sticking with it, right? Through thick and thin, and when it's difficult, when it's hard, when they don't know what to do. But really, it's them also turning into want to give back as well when they become of age of doing so, or knowledge wise. So, we've also looked at doing some programs with veteran owned businesses as well too. I believe
Mhm.
that there's a big gap there for being just resources, right? And this is just my wife and I as individuals, not as a company or anything else. It's just, hey, do we have experience that we can actually get back and in return see someone succeed as well, right? I think that's very important. So those are the type of things that we do. A lot of times people will ask for donations, and that's also a good way to give back as well. But we're more of let's get our hands dirty, right? Let's do something more than just giving a donation. Can we help, raise money? Can we help direct folks? Is there information that maybe we can of our knowledge that we can transfer over at no cost, right? Just wanting to see that person at D6. It's not necessarily just take effort, really. At the end of the day, Steve, it just takes commitment of what you really truly believe and what you want to get, want to
That's
get
so
done.
true.
So yeah, so it's really exciting and fun, and it's not always glamour, right, or glitz. You're not looking for any credit or anything. Just want to see people do well at the end of the day.
That's incredible. I love everything you said there. You finished it off with something beautiful. A couple things. You want people to do well around you. When you surround yourself with people who are doing well and you're helping them do well, you're creating a better ecosystem and a better community for where you live, anyways. Right? You said another thing that was incredible. It's your commitment that you have to your wife. It's your commitment that you have to your community. It's your commitment to your business. It's just commitment trumps really everything. And when you're committing to doing things that give back to the community and helping other people, it's going to come back to you in return, which is incredible. Also, what that does is build significant and lifelong relationships, which is really where businesses thrive and where people
Sure.
thrive in relationships. We are all in the business of people at the end of the day, relational selling instead of transactional selling, which is incredible. And you're giving your resources, your time, your money, and your energy to something that matters to you. Now, I know something in sport that matters to you is baseball, correct? Tell us a little bit about your philanthropist efforts in baseball and why that matters so much to you.
So I was a youth baseball player growing up, and I was able to play college baseball. My folks were not baseball. They weren't baseball people. They didn't know anything about baseball, but uh, had a great network of other fathers and volunteers who helped me develop my skills, not only just on the field, but off the field, right? Mentality and attitude, sportsmanship, goals, commitment, and I always said that no matter what, at the end, I also want to have a chance to give back myself because those volunteers gave me something that was invaluable. I've been in the past a volunteer youth baseball coach, for over a decade. Whether it's youth, like youth 12, also high school as well too. I was a volunteer JV head coach and an assistant and varsity coach. And then as our travels have gone, we've worked with the university organizations to where we actually had interns that were on the baseball team, right? So and we
Remember that?
supported those programs. So it's a great sport. It's taught me way more about life than anything about the game. It's well the game and life, they have a lot of parallels, right? But the life lessons were really great over time. And I had a baseball coach when I was in high school who was a great mentor of mine who said that you go out and you win a state championship or you are a team leader and you put that on your resume, right? And at the end of the day, when you're in front of somebody who's hiring you, that will stick out. That'll show that you've accomplished something that is shows that you were part of a winning team. It shows that you had commitment and that you had the ability to achieve goals. And at the time, 17 to 18 years old, you don't really know what that's like. You've never been on a professional interview before, but sure enough, it was on my resume and people would ask about it, right? And I was like, man, my coach was spot on. He was definitely leading us to the right path. But those are the types of opportunities we want to be able to provide to athletes. And again, athletes is something that's close to me because I was a student athlete and it was important to have those opportunities, but to individuals, young individuals in general that need assistance or help or guidance, or a lot of times they just don't know where to get resources. That's all same kind of bucket we like to work in as well.
That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, I'm all about it on the show here. We got a team behind us. We're growing this brand with the show around a holistic approach with business, which is freight for me, faith, which is really all encompassing with everything we do, and with sport. So when you mix the things you love in life together, you cannot create anything but beauty. It's
Sure.
wonderful. It's lovely. It's going to be incredible, and you're going to make the world a better place. So I'm a big sports guy. That resonates a lot with me. You've tickled my fancy with baseball. I don't follow a lot of baseball, but I know what's going on. I know the big players who are out there. I love the sport. I related a lot to cricket, like when I lived in Australia, which is kind of sort of similar in how they operate. But I love the way you talk about coaching, the way you talk about mentorship, and the way you talk about your experience in a competitive sport. It taught you more about life than it did necessarily about the sport, even though you love playing, right? Which is really
Sure.
cool. One of the other big goals we have on the show is to promote others' businesses and see if we can connect them with people in our lives that are meant to come together. Project 31 is your business, correct?
Uh,
Development 31. How do people find that? And what are you looking for in a client or a relationship?
well, right now, I mean, LinkedIn is the best way to reach me, right? Anthony Escobedo on LinkedIn. At the end of the day, I'm more about in terms of business being a resource right now, right? So if folks have questions about, I've been in logistics and supply chain logistics since 2004. January 4th, 2004 was my first job with DHL. I was a account manager for DHL up in New York, Manhattan, New York. So I've been doing this for so long, and if I can help somebody kind of connect the dots in the business when it comes to understanding, the technology piece, understanding, how to save money and how to stretch a budget. Those are things that we're working on. I'm not necessarily connecting carriers with customers right now. That's not what we do. We're more of assisting businesses in understanding, hey, how do I deep dive into my company and how do I make it profitable in a way that, that I didn't know I could because I don't have the education, I don't have the resources, I don't have the 20 plus years of working in the industry and seeing things a different way. And it's interesting because when you get good at something, you look at it from a different point of view than if you're actually doing it every day, right? So
Uh-huh.
you get some really seasoned, smart marketers in their business, and they have no idea what freight costs are. They have no idea what it costs to overnight something, right? They have no idea what it costs to get something to their customer. And when they open their eyes, like, wow, that's a different aspect of my business I've never looked at before. That's really important. And again, what you'll see, Steve, we're in the quiet period for some time with our tech that's being launched. But when we get it out and launched, we could probably come back and give you all the skinny on it, right? But that's a whole other project that is, again, it's actually technology app. It's lightweight, but it's very, very integratable, and it's going to change the industry a lot. So as for right now, man, we're just really looking forward to being that kind of conduit for companies and individuals.
That's incredible. Well, LinkedIn's the best place I find you, and your material on there is gold. It's fantastic. It provides a lot of value. You're giving a lot away for free. You're going to create wonder in the world. You're an ultimate giver, a wonderful thinker, and we saw the true heart of Anthony Escobedo tonight. So I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
It'll be good. We'll do a part two when the tech's all ready to go, when we can launch, when we can get this going, get some clients on board, which is going to be great. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show. This is the Steve Setka Show. And go out killing your life. You've got at the forefront, and just work hard, be disciplined. Grit, determination. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. I hope you found value in what we shared and that you'll take it with you to positively impact the world around you. If so, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and share the show because we're on a mission to grow and reach more hearts. Prayers, gratitude, and love. Until next time.